Hello and welcome back to Life.EV, your weekly deep dive into values and entrepreneurship. This is episode number 13, which is 13 weeks in a row. We've not missed a single one. My name is Ajit Panicker. I lead Nova and Pureblu, which is in the air conditioning domain. And as usual, we will talk on the paths of business growth and personal value creation. Tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. for transformative talks on balancing success and values in our lives. Join Life.EV for insights on living and leading with purpose. As usual, my guest is Vivek. Hi, Vivek. How are you doing?
Very well, Ajit. Good to be back on the
13
show.
weeks in a row. 13 weeks
30.
in a row.
Wow, it's amazing how time flies.
That's true. Well, to people who are joining us for the first time, Vivek Asrani is the driving force behind Camo Fastener Company, which is a trailblazing company in the industrial fastener sector. What sets Vivek apart is his deep engagement with the exploration of values. For close to 4 years, he has dedicatedly penned his reflections on this topic every week. These insightful thoughts are accessible on his website, vivekasrani.com. Additionally, Vivek has authored the book One Day at a Time, Reflections from Times of Silence, which further delves into his journey and insights. This thought provoking read is available on Amazon or on his website, offering readers a chance to engage with his profound understanding of values and their role in both personal and professional realms. Join us as we delve into these rich discussions with Vivek on Life.EV. And today's episode, we talk on overcoming fear. Let's go, Vivek. Your reflections on overcoming fear.
Scary subject, huh, Ajit? So, I think
I mean, you
to,
said that because it's two married men talking, right?
so I was saying that I think to overcome fear, one has to obviously first understand fear. And very often we react to how to respond to fear without having fully understood it. Now, there are three aspects of fear. One is that it comes from a desire, and very often we don't make the connection between our desires and fear. So fear is an emotion which gets triggered when we might lose an object of our desire. So that's the first aspect of fear. The second aspect of fear is that it belongs to the future. We're always fearful of something that is yet to happen. If the event has already taken place, then we're not fearful. Then we are either angry, we are heartbroken, we are really upset, but we're not fearful because it's already happened. We might be fearful of what the next outcome might be. So, for example, when somebody very close to us is critically ill, we are fearful of what may happen in the eventuality that, the person is no more. Now we are no longer fearful. We are sad. So fear is of the future. That's the second part. And third is it's always of the unknown because we are fearful because we just don't know what is going to happen. So when we understand that it's coming from our desires, it's coming from a space of not knowing what's going to happen, and it's coming from what's going to happen in the future, it not only gives us a better understanding of fear, but it prepares us for the antidote, which is knowledge. The antidote to fear is knowledge. That when we understand these three aspects of fear, then we also are in a better position to respond. So, A, if it's coming from my deep seated desire, so every time I'm fearful of something, if I just sit back and I really think about why am I fearful of losing this, I will get the answer that because of this attachment or this deep seated desire, I'm really, really fearful. The moment I reflect on that and I digest that, okay, this is not something I should be so attached to, automatically the fear quotient reduces substantially. Second is it's of the unknown, it's of the future. If we reflect on, okay, so what's the worst that can happen? And if it does happen, am I prepared to handle it, deal with it, and do I have the resources and the means? Very often, the fear of the issue is much larger than what really happens in our lives. So that's understanding fear and understanding the antidote to fear, which is really knowledge and quiet reflection. And the third aspect of fear, Ajit, is what fear does to us. And I think that is very important and practical in our day to day lives. Classic example is, in school, sometimes we either it happened to us or we came across where somebody was well prepared to deliver a poem or a speech or something. And the moment they went in front of the whole assembly or a huge audience, they kind of forgot. Or, you blank out in an exam. Now, what is that? It's nothing but fear, which has that one property we have to be very careful about. It has the ability to cloud our intellect and our judgment, which is why it is so dangerous. So, having understood where it comes from, having understood what it can do to us, and then understanding that I need to just sit in silence and reflect on what I can do about it and which desire or attachment is triggering this. Okay, once we put this together, our ability to handle fear becomes much better. And in a way, the fear quotient kind of reduces in our life.
Amazing. Vivek, from what you said about the uncertainty, when you look at businesses, especially entrepreneurs running small businesses or medium sized businesses, if you talk across the board, they live with these two fears. One is, will I get the next business? Where will I get it? Will it happen what I did? And second is cash flows. Do I have enough money to keep my fuel, the fuel in the engine to keep going? What are your thoughts on these two fears that people literally live by and get stressed out about?
No, I think these are very real fears, and let me share with you what happened to me with our biggest customer at that time and our biggest supplier at that time. So let me first start with the supplier. So when we just started our new business, there was a European company. I thought we were representing them in India, and very proudly I put the name on my letterheads and stuff. And I was very, very new in the business. And at one of the exhibitions in India where they had come and put up their stall, I met one of a newly appointed dealer, and he says, "Yeah, your fellow at the stall has given me the name of another fellow in India whom I should go to for these products." I said, "It's impossible. I am their exclusive agent in India." And when I went and spoke to them, they said, "Yeah, but you're only buying these products, and that fellow's buying other products, and he's in a different place." And I still remember I was overcome with fear that, oh my God, I'm building my business on the strength of this relationship. And if these guys are going to be selling to other people in the space when it's a very new space and I still haven't, kind of got my foundation strong, what's going to happen to us? So I was overcome with that fear. So that was the one, incident I remember. And I'll tell you what we did about that. And the second was our largest customer then, when we were just growing the business and we desperately needed that business, we, I think, just got the whole supply chain wrong, where we didn't anticipate how much material they needed. And again, shipping time took longer than we had envisaged. Long story short, when I went and met the senior most manager there, who called for me, and it was in a different city, he was livid. Okay. One of the worst meetings of my life, one of the best learnings. It didn't bother me that he was really upset with me. I mean, that was one part of it I could handle. But what overcame at me at that point of time was the fear that I'm going to lose my largest customer when I still haven't built my business. And I can't afford to do that. Now, what did we do in the first case? The moment I was overcome with fear, I remember dad was there, and I told dad, I said, "Dad, we need to go and meet these guys at the exhibition in Europe." So we went there. We met with the management. And when we went for the exhibition, we met 25 other companies who were able to offer us similar products. And then dad and I got into a conversation. He's saying, "What are you worried about? He's not the only one who can offer you. There are so many other companies." Second, he said now that he's told you he wants to deal with others, he's in fact left you open to pick up the best products in the world. You're not locked into one system. In fact, it's a blessing in disguise. So the knowledge of the solution helped overcome that fear. In the second case, I said, okay, now this has already happened. I bought one more opportunity from that manager. I said, give me one more chance. If after that we mess up, I think you are entitled to, kind of not buy from us anymore, but give me one chance. And I went back and we kind of over invested in whatever we needed to do to make sure there was no supply breakdown. And it's been more than 25 years now. There's been zero breakdown with them. But it just taught me that my ability to solve a problem is always bigger than the problem. The moment I became solution oriented rather than what may happen, I moved from fear to action. Action brought about the results, and the fear dissipated. And when I look back, I'm like, thank God it happened because it taught me so many other aspects of my business. No. Just the last point on the cash flow, which you spoke about, Ajit. Cash is like petrol in the car, like gas in the car. Without the
Yeah.
gas, the car is going to work, and we're always fearful. But here, and I can't give a logical explanation. Every time I have been short on cash flow, there's I can't use another word other than miracle. Either someone has called me and said, listen, we have some free cash, would you like to keep it as a deposit with you?
Wow.
Or some customer has sent us a huge payment not expected, or some big order has come with advance payment or something. I mean, I'm not able to explain this, but I've always believed that, look, if you're faced with that, don't panic. That's the first learning. There is always a solution. That's the second learning. If you don't know what the solution is, sit in silence and find it. It exists. That was the third learning. And fourth is then the idea comes, stop thinking about anything else but the execution and say, no, I just need to go and chase this. And somehow, and keep saying, "Okay, I need to find the answer," and the answer comes. So that's been my experience in business and real life
Wow.
experience in the real world of business.
True. Amazing. I mean, I must tell you that I'm not very fortunate where somebody just comes and gives gives me an advance or a loan. But what you said, it best makes a lot of sense, because it's when you're in a small business, you're always, there is dependencies where you actually are depending on some key people, or you're depending on a critical order, and there are always those surprise moments when you suddenly realize, oh my God, this is not happening. But like how we said, sit in silence and give it a thought. One of my experiences has been that, listen, hey, the numbers are put from by you, right? You set your goals, right? It's okay. It's okay if you don't achieve that goal for a moment, but it's better than taking a wrong judgment out of that fear. It's a fine. You did your best. It just did not work. But let me fix this. But you get wiser by it. One is you take a better judgment, and then over the years, I've realized that you tend to build redundancies. You ask the big question: if this happens, what do you do? And you ask that in the good times. What do you do if that cash flow runs out at this moment? Then what do you do? And then you learn to mitigate that, over a period of time. And I guess it's all about that moment of silence to just say that, okay, ticket, I'm not achieving it this time, but what about the next time? But how do I make sure that this doesn't repeat again, or how do I don't reach a point where there's fear? And you also spoke about in this reflection that often fears are from deep desire of losing something and reflects on our attachment. On a personal level, is there something that you'd like to share about this? This whole attachment thing. That's something which is all of us aspire, and especially the materialistic attachments and personal attachments. So many things. I think, why don't you throw some light around that?
So I think for me, uh, partly at a personal level, but also linked to business, has been, every time we lose a customer because not because of price, not because of anything which is an objective consideration from the customer's point of view, but because we messed up or we didn't do it right. Suddenly, for that flash, I can sense the fear that this brand that we have so lovingly, patiently, and painstakingly built over the years. I mean, is it that now we aren't able to deliver to that and live up to the expectations? And, you know, even though I know that this is a one off, but I think my attachment to the company and the brand is just so high, and my emotional attachment is so high that I sense that fear for a few seconds. And because of the awareness now, it comes and it's like, popping a soda, opening a soda bottle, that fizz, and then it suddenly settles. But because I keep reminding myself, I'm like, listen, now don't be silly about this. These things happen, learn from it and move on, right? So that's one. I think the one area where I still struggle is when it comes to the kids. If anything were to happen to the boys, even now as a father, in spite of knowing all this, and I'm being very honest about this, I still, that initial feeling, like, if anything happens to me, I don't care. But if they go through an experience, and I know that they are meant to go through that experience, it's good for them in a way. It's good in a way that they get hardened in life. But that sense of, like, fear, in a sense, surfaces. And when I sit back at the end of the day and I say, why did I go through that? I keep reminding myself, because of the deep sense of attachment. So I'm being very honest about that. But there's another angle to all this as well. And I know you touched upon this, that, it's, and I always look at business in a way, Ajit, like school. If we were not prepared for the exam, we were stressed. And we would have friends in class who used to love these exams, and we used to hate those guys because they would not only do well, but they would be most relaxed about things. But the fact is that they would study, put in those hours, and they were well prepared. In fact, they were looking forward to the exam. It's the same in business. I think very often we blame situations and we say we are lucky, not lucky, but we have to also introspect and say that, have I mitigated the fear in my life by planning well and being intelligent about the way I live my life? And I'll quickly share one last example with you. I was sitting in the office. Rashida's showroom is in the same building. I get a call saying that the sales tax guys have come. I said, well, show them whatever challan they want to see. And my manager says, well, there are 10 of them who've come. I said, now 10 people haven't come to see a challan. So I went down. He gives me a paper. He says, it's a raid case. This is about 15, 18 years back. And search and seizure. I said, so I said four things to him. I said, you're an officer of the government. Your job is to conduct this raid properly. And my duty as a citizen is to make sure that it's done correctly. I said, second is, while you're on our premises, your tea, coffee, lunch, dinner, if you're here till tomorrow morning, your breakfast will get taken care of on humanitarian grounds. I said, third, we're a retail outlet. Business should not stop. He said, no, you can carry on your business. And I said, fourth, before you mess around my organization with all the paperwork, I'll introduce you to the various people, the accounts uh, team, the filing systems, stock registers, and all. And I said, you please carry on your rate. I'm going up to do my work. I'll come at lunch. What my team has not been able to answer, I will come and explain to you. Now, this is a raid going on, right? There was zero fear. You know why? Because I knew every item in the store was with an invoice in our stocks. We don't under invoice and we don't sell in cash, right? I said, there is no reason for me to be scared. I'm like, let them check what they want. It was like an open book exam. Later on, I asked him, I said, why have you come here? Because no one would have complained and we're not that big. He's saying, no, we just targeted the whole industry because we heard there's a lot of under invoicing. So, along with everybody else, because you guys are a big showroom, you've got affected. I said, fair enough. That's a industry wise issue. Preparation mitigates fear, knowledge mitigates fear, and just knowing that our ability to overcome the fear is bigger than the fear, that itself mitigates the fear.
Amazing, yeah. Too good. Absolutely fantastic. And that example also just kind of reflects everything as to what values that you build your life and business about. Vivek, that's the time that we've had for today. So, to all our guys, that was a thought provoking discussion with some deep insights. And it's certainly given us a lot of stuff to actually think about how on balance between exploring values and business growth. Now, as usual, we're going to encourage you not to just keep these ideas to yourself. Share this episode with your friends, colleagues, and family and spark conversation. And we'd love to hear from you. Join the dialogue on our social media platforms. Share your questions, your learnings, and the insights you've gained from this episode. It's through these shared experiences and perspectives that we all grow and learn. So don't hesitate to reach out and contribute to this ongoing conversation. I know most of you guys send WhatsApp messages to Vivek and me after every episode, but we'd love to see some of those comments on our social media handles where you watch us live. Your voice matters in shaping a more ethically driven business world. That's it for today. Join us next week again on Saturday at 11 a.m. for another enriching episode of Life.EV, where we continue our exploration into the fascinating world of exploring values in our lives. Vivek, thank you very much for all the contributions today. And we look forward to seeing you next week, Saturday, 11 a.m. on Life.EV, exploring values.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Ajit.
Vivek.
Love being on the show. Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Thanks. See you. Bye bye.